In this video series, we're going to begin instructions on how to build a base. We're going to do this base out of wood, and it will have some metal components attached to it. Very simple base. We chose wood because not everybody has access to the higher end materials, extrusions, plastics, and that nature. We will post up the 3D model on the dimensions of everything for the base so you can tackle it yourself. And we'll also offer this in a kit that's pre-cut, pre-CNC, ready to assemble. Go over a few components of the base itself before we start building it. You're going to have your printer plates. This is actually what the printer is going to sit on each side. We have a front and rear frame piece for front and back. We have a left and right side pieces for the frame. We have center support strut, and we have the guide rail plates. These, like I said, will be pre-cut, CNC'd, ready to go. And our first step to building the base is we're going to build the frame portion, which is 4 pieces. These two front and back, and these 2 sides. And in this video, how we're going to do it is just a glue and a brad nailer. If you have access to compressed air, just use a brad nailer. It's very easy. If you don't have that, you can use an electric stapler or even pre-drill these with screws yourself. So we'll go ahead and build the square frame portion of the base and proceed. So we have it laid out here. We have our front and back pieces and our 2 side pieces. Sides go on the inside, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to glue the corners and then brad nail them, as explained in the first video. After we do that, we're going to take a corner piece, come in on each corner to square it up. So we'll begin by putting a bead of glue here. Squaring it up, make sure your edge is good. It's very important that you're lined up correctly. And then we'll just go ahead and put a brad nail in here. Okay, now that we have this glued and nailed, this first corner, we're going to do the same with this corner piece. We're going to put a bead of glue on here, come in here and staple this in square. So now that we have this piece in here, we've squared this corner up, we've glued it and brad nailed it. We're going to proceed to do the other 3 corners exactly the same way. Okay, now that we have completed brad nailing and gluing all your corner braces, you see that we have a square base frame now. The next portion of the video will be adding the printer feet. And what we're going to do is put these on each side. And you're going to have to start from the corner and nail here so you can square this up as we go. So we'll go ahead and put a bead of glue on here and proceed with nailing this. Okay, as you see, we put the bead of glue in the portion that this base plate's going to sit. We're going to go ahead and sit this on here in the corner. Get the corner square right here. And you're going to want to work this front so it's square. You see it has a little crack in it, so we're going to pull it so it's square and even. Now you want to square this side up. We've already done the other side before you start nailing this piece here, because it'll be more difficult to get in. So we'll just go ahead and push this over. Get it square. The 2 end pieces square, then you can pull the center piece out or push this in to get this edge square. And as you can see, we've already done that. squared it up. We have our brad nails in it. So we're going to go ahead and put this same plate on the other side the same way. Okay, now that we've finished up this side also the same way we did that side, we will be putting the center strut in. Just make sure that you wipe off all the glue as you go so you don't have to sand any spots after you're done. So the center strut will be the one that has notches in it, and this is going to be the support for the drive rail. And you're going to want to put marks on here, center, so you can center this in place. We're going to put a bead of glue, and then we're going to brad this in place on both sides. Okay, we have glued and brad nailed the center strut, brace strut in place, as you can see here. The next step, we will be outfitting our drive rail with all of the components, front pulley, rear motor pulley, and drive rails. And after we get those components in place, then we will install the drive rail onto here with the pre-CNC holes. So what we'll do is we're going to lay out the parts of what you're going to have to outfit your drive rail with, and we'll proceed from there. So in this video, we're going to explain some of the components to the drive rail. This is the center rail that we explained that's going to go here. What we're going to do is we're going to mount these, our custom guide rails, to this drive on each side. It's already been cut, it's the proper width, and we're going to use these self-drilling black screws to mount these. We're also going to have a front pulley, which mounts from underneath here, and a rear motor, which is going to mount in the back here. When you buy our kit, our electronics kit, we'll have specific mounting instructions for those components, the dimensions, where they go. It's trivial, but the dimensions will be in there and show you how to attach it. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and outfit our drive rail with the components that we need and proceed. So we've went ahead and outfitted our center drive rail with all of our components. We have our guide rails. We've mounted our motor plate. We've mounted our pulley plate, and our transport plate. This is a custom system we use, developed by Tucklock. We use a Tucklock Platen system on this. We do that because it's very rigid, very level, and they offer many different platens, adult, youth, baby, pretty much anything you want you can have custom made by them. One of the platen is one of the most important pieces to have an extremely level platen for your printing application. If you want to have a go at making your own platen system, you're more than welcome to do that. We're not going to include any kind of instructions on making your own platen because we feel this is the best way to go for the price. As far as the construction and assembly of this base rail, we have our limit switch, our motor, our pulley, our belt, and our plate. That's all going to be included in the instruction manual provided with the kit. So the next step is to go ahead and mount this drive rail onto your base, and it's going to go right over your center strut support, and it basically just fits right in here. Just make sure your wires are clear. It's going to fit right in here. You're going to center the spacing on both sides, flush it, and you're just going to take a wood screw into the pre-drilled holes, the CNC holes, and screw this down into place. Again, same thing in the rear. Center it, screw it down. So we went ahead and mounted your drive rail to the center strut into the front. You'll notice the 2 screws here and a few screws into the center strut and 2 screws here. So it's completely mounted, attached. So this is the full base completed as far as the construction portion of it. You can put any kind of coating that you'd like on this base. You know, some people might want to router the edges round, paint it a certain color that they like. When you see this in our videos, what we're going to do is we're going to paint this black. We're going to round the edges off and put a couple of logos on it. And what I like to do is paint it black and then epoxy it. Epoxy is like plastic. Once you epoxy, that's why they do bar tops and epoxy. It protects it. It's a glue and protectant all in one. And you'll see it'll look very similar to plastic when it's complete. So from here, we're going to go ahead in the next series of videos and we're going to mount the printer, and we're going to show you how to wire the motor and the rear limit switch from the printer. Okay, the next portion of the video is actually mounting the printer to the base. There's a couple ways to do that. You can mount it with external brackets on the outside, so you don't have to take any of the covers off like we have. We've just taken those same covers off that we've already discussed in the other videos. Or you can go directly through the plastic into the wood with a wood screw and a washer, and that's what we're going to do here because most people are going to tend to do that and not use the brackets. So you just want to use 4 screws total, one right inside here, one right inside here, right into the wood, and then you're going to come around the back, and you're going to put one right inside here, and then you're going to go to the other side. You're going to put one right inside the rear, behind the Wi-Fi on the other side, right here. That will secure the printer to the base. Before you secure it, a couple things that you have to do is line the platen up. If you notice, we've squared the printer, we put the printer on here, and we give it the same gap on both sides. That's so a t-shirt clears once it's on your Platen system. And there's also a measurement from the front to the base of 17 5/8. So you'll just take a tape, 17 5/8, both sides. And what that does, based on our dimensions, it's going to make your platen, when it's pushed to the start position at the rear limit, you can hear the rear limit click, it's in line with this bar. This is the start point, and then your print will be accurate. This is all adjustable. You could adjust the limit switch forward, you could adjust the limit switch back, but it's best that you get this process. This is the easiest process. So what we'll go ahead and do is, we've got everything lined up and square in our Platen set. We're going to go ahead and put our screws in. So we've went ahead and mounted our screws in. You can see we have one here in all the positions that we discussed previously, and then 2 in the rear. And I want to show you how strong this is. Some of you will question, you know, how tough that is mounting it with the wood screws through the plastic. I'm lifting from the printer. If you'll bring the camera around here, I'm going to lift right from the printer. And you can see it's not going anywhere. It's very strong. Actually, better than the brackets. I prefer it better than the brackets. So we did that, and I'll do this on the other side. We mounted, the other side is already done. And you can see how tough this is. It lifts the whole base with the printer. Here's the Platen. It comes in all different types, adult, youth, toddler. You can pretty much get anything you want. Standard with this system is adult. It's a removable Platen. Comes off with their pin system. There's a key system on the bottom, so if you're standing in front of it, it's much easier to line up. I had it backwards. So it just pops on like that. Difficult to do when you're filming too, but to adjust the height of this particular Platen, you have 4 screws. Turn it in, makes the Platen tighter. Let it out, gives it more height. You have about a 1/2 inch adjustment on the Platens, and you know this is designed for printing t-shirts and hoodies, and you can order any specialty Platen or have any specialty Platen custom made that you want through Tough Cloth, but like I said, as standard comes with the kit. So we've turned the printer around, and you'll notice we've fished the wires through the hole that will be included in the kits. If you don't have the kit, then dimensions will be on the instructions to build a base. And you have 4 motor wires. You have 2 for the proximity switch, and then you'll have 2 for the load. You can see they all go through here. So we'll start with the motor wire. We've pulled up the motor wires from the motor on this side, and they're color coded. You'll see a blue, green, yellow, red, and same with this side, blue, green, yellow, red. So what we're going to do is we're going to solder these to matching colors. Several ways you can do that, just with regular solder, and then tape them up with a shrink tube. I'm sorry, I said tape, but I meant shrink tube on here first. Solder, pull the shrink tube over, heat it. Or you can use solder shrink tube. You can find it on eBay, pretty much anywhere online. Slip the solder shrink tube over, twist your wires together, bring the shrink tube back over the connection. You heat it with just a lighter or a grill lighter. It melts the solder, and you don't have to be an expert solder. Solder is quite easy. And that would complete that. And then we're going to take the 2 proximity sensor switches, which are a black and a gray, and they're going to go right through these connectors on the top and on the bottom. And there's little holes, and you're just going to slide it through the holes right there and on the bottom. Solder those in place. So we went ahead and finished up the soldering connections for the motor. Again, these are all color coded, red to red, green to green, green to green, yellow, yellow, blue, blue. That's all the motor connection, 4 wires. And we've soldered the connection to the proximity sensor. Just a note here on the side, there's a black and gray wire. The polarity does not matter. You can switch those around, it doesn't matter. But you do want to make sure you're on the top pole and the bottom pole when you solder those together. So we'll just go ahead and push these under, and we're going to use a retaining bracket when we complete it, when we tidy everything up underneath. But we have 1 wire left out of the bundle, and it's your load button. Okay, finishing up our wiring, we had 1 more wire to connect, which would be the load button. Place our load button here on the left side on the front of the base. This is pre-drilled in our kit and includes the button. So we went ahead and installed the button. And what we'll do now is we'll flip it up, and we're going to show you we've tidied up the wires underneath and put some wiring clips on. This is the motor and the rear proximity sensor wiring coming out of the hole from the rear. We put these little black clips on here to tidy it up. We've hooked up our load button wiring, which will also be included in the manual instructions on which post to hook it to. And we've ran our load button back here, and we bundled any extra up in our wire clip to keep everything out of the way. The next step is we're going to be putting feet, rubber feet mounts right on your corner braces. So it's just a simple wood screw through your rubber feet, and you're going to attach the rubber feet here. We finished up installing the 4 rubber feet. Mounting is simple. We just kind of line it up with the edges of the 3/4 on both sides of the front and side braces right into the corner bracket. Simple wood screw, all 4 of them. That will conclude the base, building the base. Okay, at this point we've completed the base wiring, mounted the printer. And this is the point where I like to call this is the smoke test. If you've wired everything correctly, follow the instructions. Once you plug this in, hit the power. It's going to auto home the Platen, and then it'll kick it out to the load position, load your t-shirt, and then you know you've did everything correctly. So we'll go ahead and go through that sequence now. I'll plug that in. We have not installed any of the ink carts in this because this is just a test. Go ahead and power it on. You'll see that it's homing back to the rear proximity switch Once it reaches that, it knows its position, then it's going to kick it out to the front. And that means you've done everything correctly. Printer's telling us to install ink carts. We're not going to do that, so we go ahead and do test prints. A little bit about our electronics. Auto Home, like you've seen, has one proximity switch in the rear. It's an advanced board where it does the Platen tracking. Because we don't have a front proximity switch, it actually reads, it knows the position of the Platen as it's printing. Once it clears the print head, it does a fast eject. It doesn't follow the Epson printer for the eject. We have two modes, single button. Press it once and it will load for a one pass print. Press and hold for 2 seconds and it will load for 2 pass. In other words, it will go in, print your white under base, come out, just clears the print head, goes right back in to print your CMYK over. So we'll just go ahead and press the load button and show you that it would load if we were to send a job to it. That's how you load your Platen, and it goes and it waits for the job. If we would have had to send the job to it, it would start printing. So that's the basic overview on it. We're going to go ahead and power everything down, and you will actually see this base with a coating on it. We're going to coat it and make it look really pretty for the videos, demonstrations when we print shirts. Thanks for taking the time to look over our videos. We hope you enjoy building it as much as we did.